Oh, it ain't over yet. Chapter 8, The Core. Going into the heart, literally and figuratively, of the mountain. And, yes, in fact, I believe the final section of this area is, in fact, called the Heart of the Mountain, which is kind of ridiculous, but, hey, what are you gonna do? And, Chapter 8, canon chapter. No B-side shenanigans going on this time. This is taking place within reality, as it were. Madeline's still having pink hair even a year later. That's got to be kind of difficult to explain to her parents. But also, one of the things I also forgot to show was that if you go directly backwards, you can see her car, her same beat-up old car from the prologue, which is too bad. That's a good little touch, but I forgot to do that. Oh, and you might realize, yep, this is a full-on chapter. There's no skimping on resources here at all. It is exactly like every other chapter in the game. Unique mechanics, unique art style, everything like that. You might notice the big hearts in the background. Yeah, the theming is intense here. Also, I love that the canon reason that Madeline came back to the mountain was, hey, I want to do more stuff. You got any more stuff for me, mountain? It is literally exactly why I wanted to go do a chapter 8, because I wanted more stuff. Madeline not showing up. I prefer my idea. She's just sitting back on Madeline's couch eating Fritos and watching, I don't know, marathons of Charmed, Will and Grace, Las Vegas. I've been unemployed a lot. I know a lot about daytime television. Let's just go with that. Oh, hey, yeah, what's Theo been up to? Yeah, of course. So I guess Madeline lives in Vancouver. I called that. Sure. Yeah, that sounds more like somebody doesn't want to pay for rent. I pay with emotional support. That I also understand, as somebody who has also been unemployed a lot. Yep, they got the nice little introduction to the mechanic of this area here, and that's the major one that's going to be. As soon as you get into the core, your dashing ability is limited. You still get the usage out of crystals and everything like that, but you only get the 2 dashes for each area. It's harsh. Oh, hey, and look at that. Even going along with the heart motif, you need at least 4 crystal hearts to enter this area. Take that, old lady. I bet you couldn't get any crystal hearts. You'll be the first person to see this, at least in some time. Little conveyor belts on the wall. They work pretty much exactly like you think they do. It's, like I said, there's a bunch of new mechanics in here, along with some of the old stuff. You might notice that those fireballs look and work pretty much the exact same as the Doubt Clouds from Chapter 3. In fact, I'm pretty sure they just resprite Doubt Clouds from Chapter 3. They even got the same, like, shaking around sort of animation when you jump into them. Yep, this is pretty much one of those platforms. You can kind of think of it like a platform from Chapter 4, except what it does is that when you jump on it, it forces you off and throws you in whatever direction you were at, as if, you got momentum from dashing up against a wall or being on one of those stoplight platforms, whatever. Now that is a tricky looking area to get through, and you wouldn't be wrong. But the fact that there doesn't seem to be any way to do this, that appears to be one of those pinball things on fire. But if you touch it, you just die. So what's the... Yeah. I think you can kind of figure this out. And yeah, you got doubt clouds. You got all these... You got doubt clouds. You got conveyor belts on the side stuff throwing you up. You got these crazy momentum blocks. Full-on chapter. I'm surprised at the amount of work that they put into this one. It is a for-real chapter. In fact, the way that it's taking place inside the mountain, the whole fiery flames sort of motif that's happening here made me think that this could have also been, well, with the exception of the heart stuff. That is very endgame, considering you even need hearts to get into this area in the first place. But this could have been an alternate to Chapter 6, almost. While that did a Lost World in the X-Men sense, you know, Hollow Earth type of deal. This one is going for magma and everything like that. It's, if you think about it, makes sense. World 8, Chapter 8, all of the Mario stuff that has been done so far. The fact that, and not just lava. Of course, how could you not see that coming? Clearly, there was something more to those fireballs. You could not possibly dash through those fireballs from earlier. And now they turned into little Mario-type platforms because you can give them the old Goomba stomp and jump off of them. In fact, it took me a little while to realize what exactly the deal was here, but oh, there you go. You can even hold down the jump button to get a little more height. Yeah, it is, like I said, 8 worlds, very Mario. Fire World being the final world, even though this is technically post-game. Very Mario World. Fire and Ice, it actually fits quite well with the whole theming of red and blue. You know, those are Madeline's colors. So it's no surprise that now all of the mechanics that have been introduced in here gain a couple different sort of properties. If you hit the spiky parts of the fireballs, or the frozen balls, I don't know. The blue balls, no, that's too crass. You do still die, but if you jump on top, you get... Well, you don't get your dash restored because that's, again, the major mechanic in this entire area. It ain't that easy. But you... Oh, yes, you also get your dash restored on screen transition, as you would expect. Conveyor belts also turn into ice, so you slip down them. You can't climb on them. You can only wall jump off of them. You get the Goomba Stomp ability on the Doubt Cloud fireballs here. The momentum... let's call them lava platforms, are now, they just sink a little bit. Might actually be taken from those crazy celestial platforms that appeared at the start of Chapter 6 as well. And of course, those things are now as they appeared in Chapter 6. So not entirely 100% new. I didn't need to kill myself there. Again, screen transition also restores your jump, but whatever. Alright, not actually too difficult to do this, but... It's still trickier than you might think. You gotta... What you want to do is not actually dash up into that, but you could just jump from, say, the wall, too. Well, I suppose you'd have to dash up to the wall. Whatever. Yeah, now it's not only easy to get up there, it's trivial. Oh yes, and jumping on top of those ice balls does in fact destroy them, so... You will be working with a few less of the fireballs if you do that. For good and bad, because hey, if you manage to turn it back to Fiery Flames world, then that means that's less fireballs you need to worry about. It's definitely an interesting sort of thing between the orbs in the background and, as well as some of these switches that you have entirely. It does seem as if there may be a little bit of design happening in the core as well. Perhaps there is some man-made intervention along with the obviously supernatural. Yep. Yeah, hitting switches, and it's a good way to get efficiency out of a single screen here, where what you're supposed to do is hit a switch and then suddenly it becomes an entirely different area. It's neat. Also, I really like how the what do you call it, pinball bumper guys are laughing and looking so happy when they're on fire. Oh, what's the name of this area? Name of the previous area was Into the Core. Name of this one is Hot and Cold. I think Katy Perry may not like that one specifically. But yeah, it does seem like there may be, especially with all the heart motif too, that there may be a little bit of human intervention into the core here. That even that in the background seems like a generator or something. It's kind of weird. Interesting thing to think about. But I'm gonna say that it's probably the Mirror Temple was a similar sort of thing, and that might not have been created by the mountain, but was made to amplify its power. Maybe there was something even with that too. Something to think about. Hey, you remember this from this very Chapter 3 type area. Despite the fact that your jumps are limited, and that makes it somewhat difficult to get around here. There are ample amount of crystals, even crystals right at the start of most areas, just because they know that you're going to that if you use a dash, it'll be frustrating to have to kill yourself to just get it back, or do an annoying screen transition each time. 5 strawberries in this area. It's you can only get 170 in the normal game, and then these are the last ones to get. So look forward to that. As the postcard said, I can finally impress my friends, because you know there's only 175 wink strawberries in the game after all. It's annoying. And there is nothing you can do when the pinball bumpers are on fire. They are uninteractable. They're pretty much just... And it's pretty obvious what you need to do there. But yeah, they're just they're obstacles at that point. Yeah, and the fact that I screwed that up when I clearly had it, it just prompted me to be like, whatever, I'm just gonna kill myself, not even worried about it. It's surprisingly tricky maneuvering around there. I mean, not that bad, but enough that these strawberries, I would say, are definitely a cut above the rest of the strawberries. And there you go. They're rough ones to get. It's a little heart generator. Yeah, it's maybe the crystal hearts are the actual source of the power of the mountain. And that Madeline collecting them will finally be able to live out her megalomaniacal dreams of taking over Canada after this. Get all the free marijuana she wants. Just been legalized now. Thanks, Trudeau. I mean, I guess, whatever, this is stupid. Again, I don't know anything about Canada. I mean, I know that they have crazy, giant magic mountains. That's cool. You can clearly see on the roof there that that is going to be something that I'll have to come back to later, because there's no way to undo what I did now. A lot more maneuvering around this. Oh, those doubt clouds. Even Chapter 3, they were... Well, I mean, I'd just like to say, for the longest time, Chapter 3 was... A-side, B-side was the thing that I had the most deaths on, because moving objects, even with the whole cycling speedrun strats, everything like that, it was rough to get around those. Yep, Area 3 here, which is called Heart of the Mountain. Yeah. And the old classic rising lava, platformer staple. Well, any sort of death water. I think all the way back to something like Toxic Tower, Donkey's Conquest. It's a classic one. No surprise that it would be appearing in this game. Oh, come on! Yeah, exactly. Thankfully, these first ones are not too difficult to get through. Oh yeah, you think cooling down the lava is going to help you? No, it gets all spiky, because why not? The realism here is pushing my belief suspenders to their limit. Let's just go with that. No, wait, the side of that is icy. Oh, those icy... They could have done so much more with slippery walls that you had to climb up. I'm kind of glad that they didn't, because those are very irritating to work with. It does make me wonder if the heart thing is just a motif, or maybe there's a lot of crystal hearts that they used as power sources. You know, Power Star style, or the rings in Sonic. I don't know. I mean, the fact that it has a big heart-shaped hole, giant heart-shaped box, if you will, says to me that there might be something that needs to go in there. I mean, there's some sort of ancient civilization that was powering all this stuff with hearts. Or maybe I'm just making conversation because, hey, it's pretty obvious what's going on in the video. You don't need my commentary to fill that out. Goomba stomping. Definitely something you're going to be getting used to here. But again, with the whole cycling, speedrun, all that sort of stuff, they tend to be placed just far enough apart that you are able to... that you're able to pretty easily combo the jumps on there with no issue. Might not get your jumps back, but at least you do get your stamina back when you jump on top of those. As you would expect, but... yeah, I saw that switch there and I said, oh, I bet I need to... no, I don't need to hit that switch. Quickly, before the lava gets me. Yeah, as you can see there, they know. They know. The lava does not start moving until you move. It is not that irritating. No getting maximum death counter for you by just leaving the game on long enough for the lava's here. But at least need to take down your left keyboard button. Oh wait, yeah, most people don't play this with the keyboard. I don't understand why. A little bit of tricky maneuvering around there, but not too difficult to get that strawberry. I would say that's probably one of the easier ones to get, along with the very first one I got in the video for the 5 final strawberries to get in this. The final countdown of strawberries to get in this area. Yeah, you think that the whole icy blocks being replaced by disappearing when you, or fiery blocks disappearing when you switch to ice, or icy blocks disappearing when you switch to fire, you think that's going to be used on the B-side? Oh, you know it's going to be used on the B-side. You think I'm going to need more hearts to get to the B-side? Oh, you know I'm going to need more hearts to get to the B-side. Besides, I don't know if you've noticed this, but this is comparatively a pretty linear area. There's a good reason why this is a shorter video than most in the series. Is that... Yay, Vadeline's still around, and she's still helping me out. And she put me in a place that I cannot escape from. This... I mean, thanks for the liftoff, but, this is distressing. It's shaped like a mountain, by the way, too. That's neat. Okay, the fact that they give you a... Yeah. It's obvious, and the fact that it was on the other side from that crystal made it too easy. Yeah, the Super Mario World tied. Again, Mario's arms are long and they have impressive reach. As I'm sure you've noticed with most games. So yeah, it raises, and then when you hit the switch, it goes back down. Again, exactly like the tides in Super Mario World. You see this in a million hacks, which, again, I really like Mario hacks. Purest form of level design that you're going to find anywhere. Yeah. Gotta hit that switch. Give it a little bit of let. But yeah, Madeline's still around. Still helping you out. So Madeline really has just absorbed her consciousness into herself. Which is a really weird way of putting that, but she was already a part of her in the first place. So what are you gonna do? Kind of surprising that that wasn't the end of the area. You thought that that would have been like the last little section, because that was the biggest question posed at the very start of this area. Oh well. Oh man, this whole section is just meant to be very stressful, as you can tell. I designed that way, but boy, it really gets close there. Oh, so yes, like I was saying, this entire area is supposed to be linear. It is a final challenge, the ultimate super awesome thing that the mountain can throw at you. The last manifesto of Dr. Mabuse, but no. So there's not too much room for extras, collectibles, cutscenes, all that sort of stuff. It's a very pure challenge sort of area. Still not too bad compared to a lot of the B-sides, to say the least. Did you see the Chapter 7 B-side? Oh, man. Ah, cool. Get some, get a little bit of extra golden feather usage here right before the end. Of course, this has a B-side, too. But you might have noticed that I have not yet gotten the cassette yet. That's kind of weird. And where's it going to be if this whole area is not... has 5 strawberries at most? Maybe that one area that I missed earlier? Might be right. Oh no, it's right here. I don't even know why I'm saying this. Of course I know exactly how this whole thing goes. As always, lo-fi version of the song, super on point. In general, I really like the song for this area, which I think is called Heart of the Mountain. Wanna say? Ooh. It's not a very difficult area, as usual with the whole cassettes, but it's interesting that they put it directly... You cannot get through Chapter 8 without getting the cassette. Straight up. No searching around for this one. And yeah, that last area that I missed before, that's just for a strawberry. Oh, don't worry, I'll be getting all of them, as you do. B-side. Oh, it's gonna be a thing. And yeah, you could not get away from it at all. You had to take it to even get across this. And now, the heart of the mountain. Yeah, so that's really nice. I like that little ending, especially that entire area has unique physics to itself where you're moving very slowly. But you also get your dash refreshed again. The power of the mountain no longer is suppressing it, or whatever you could possibly say, I don't know. Also, those crazy celestial platforms from Chapter 6 reappeared. Still didn't really have too much to do with gameplay, which is weird because they have unique physics and everything all on their own. But it was a nice little ending. I really like that. Even though, yeah, nothing was really resolved. I mean, did you really expect to find out about the source of the mountain's power? Like, it was midichlorians. There's your answer. I hope you're happy now. The wills of the Force. That's what you use to dash. Oh, yeah. Really the one time that you have to use the slippy walls to do wall jumps, and oh boy, is it rough. Because you do also fall pretty fast. I would almost say as if you ran out of stamina and are just falling down the side of the wall. Thankfully, you don't have to use each one of these walls to jump off of. It is more of a... It's more of a starting thing, and then you don't have to worry too much about it. Still, as far as strawberries go, pretty rough. I'm not going to say this one is easy at all. Again, I would just like to say, I am very glad that they did not use this to force you to do slippery wall jumping. It's the thing that they didn't. I want to be the guy, actually. The hazardous, this sort of caution tape type of... And there you go. Don't even need to do the wall jump. Take that, game. Well, I mean, okay, I do need to do it here, but whatever. One more. 175. It's all of them. But, yeah, I want to be the guy. I had a caution tape type areas with the yellow and black stripes that you slid down in a similar sort of way. Ah, try to be sneaky, eh? There is the final strawberry, and boy, does this feel like a final strawberry place. I really saved a good one for last here. But yeah, it's gotta be on fire. You have to activate the mountain to be able to get this last strawberry. Fitting, but also kind of rough to do. Still, just this huge area with a totally useless one of those lava blocks to be in there, just to really screw with you, or to show you that it should be on fire. Well, the fact that it's a big frozen block says it should be on fire, but yeah, whatever. Just got to get through this area, hit the fire, and then jump up there while there's fireballs going up. This is that whole thing that I was talking about, where it's actually kind of worth it to maybe destroy a few of these ice balls before you decide to go whole hog on the switch hit. Yep, what, one or two? Okay, well, one will do. Yes! Nailed it. Hope you're all impressed, y'all. I consider you my friends. And just for good measure. 175. That's all of them. All 175 strawberries. Wink. Not even too bad on the death count either. think I had significantly more all the way back in... Oh boy. All the way back in Chapter 7. Matthew Seiji. Because I know Japanese. Did you forget that? Persona will be coming out eventually. Those episodes take a long time to make, you understand. And no, your card does not appear in this one. Look at the amount of... Yeah, that's all the hearts. It's every one of them. Hope you got them all. Because... Whoa, that's the test for this area. And to be honest, it wasn't even because I wanted to do something else. It's because I wanted to see that animation of me getting all the hearts again and having that open up. Just to say, yeah, I did do it, didn't I? Really not too bad of a starting area. Of course, B-sides tend to be like that. The amount of spikes that you see on there kind of says everything, doesn't it? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The core B-side. I would say not as difficult as Chapter 7 B-side, but only because Chapter 7 B-side was a ridiculous marathon ending with an extremely tough section when you got to the pink sunrise, the pink sunrise area. Oh man, that thing is just the stuff of nightmares. But hey, don't let me tell you that Chapter 8 B-side is nothing too difficult. Have you seen some of the mechanics that I've had to work with here? We're talking about the doubt clouds, along with these lava blocks that are going to be... I mean, are they going to be just filled with spikes, just completely covered in spikes in some of the later areas? Oh yeah, they are. And it's everything. It is absolutely everything at this point that you're going to be using. It's the disappearing blocks, it's the ice balls. It's those ice blocks being used as much as they possibly can be. Oh boy. It is rough. Oh, the rising and falling lava? Oh man, that section is terrible. Oh. You know, honestly, when I first saw Chapter 8, I was wondering if it was going to be something unique on its own, or if it was going to be the type of mega mix, and not just the mega mix, but every single mechanic brought back too. Because that, I think, would be... Chapter 7 was obviously similar to that, but it was not actually the same thing. It had every area, but they were all separate. They weren't all mixed together. So I was wondering if that was going to come up here, and it doesn't, but I can't say I'm disappointed with the mechanics we got here. This is all a bunch of original stuff, and the doubt clouds, which I always thought being only in Chapter 3, and I guess a little bit in Chapter 5 with the saw blades. Oh, so close there. And Chapter 5 a little bit with the saw blades. Were never really used as much as I would have liked them to have been used. Oh, by the way, B-side, this is Into the Core. Oh yeah. Getting all up in that core. Giant stone hearts everywhere. It's like in chapter, what was that, Chapter 8 of Super Paper Mario? Or maybe it was Chapter 6. By the way, I don't think I ever made that connection, but the Crystal Hearts, I mean, obviously, Crystal's video games, that Final Fantasy made an entire... Not too difficult to get through that area, but not easy either. You have to do some pretty precise jumps. But yeah, Crystals entirely are all over video games. I mean, Final Fantasy made an entire franchise almost based around those. But hey, the fact that the Crystal Hearts are something that you're collecting, it's a very Super Paper Mario thing. What did they call them in that game? I don't know. They were hearts, and they were crystal. Ugh. Yeah, honestly, hardest part about this area, dealing with those little fireballs. And also not screwing up some, what should have been pretty easy section there, especially after you get past this. They are going slow enough that you aren't going to be forced up into there with the... Actually managed to do that first try. That was the first time I got to that section, and I managed to do it. I'm honestly a little proud of myself, because like I said, fireballs are the bane of my existence. Moving things, moving objects are so much more difficult, with the exception of some of the crazier stuff that happened in the Pink Sunrise section of Chapter 7 B-side, which was just... Oh, the parts with the upward wind. You heard me talk about it, but oh, I cannot even tell you how difficult those sections were. Nothing in here could hold a candle to that. That was easily the hardest parts that I had in the entire game. Yep. Well, I would have died to the spikes anyway, but the Hail Mary play didn't work out regardless. Ugh. The hitbox for those are actually pretty generous, but they're still... It's not so generous that you can try to approach them from the side. You do have to do a little tricky wandering around there. Yeah, I hope your jumping game is on point here. I mean, this game... I'll say this, the entirety of Chapter 8. Dashing does give you huge advantages in terms of movement in other parts of the game. And being able to just dash whenever, knowing that you can have refreshed all the time, anytime that you hit a crystal, anytime you land on the ground, it does give you a lot of... yeah, this is maybe the one time that you would have to do some jumping there, but not really. You can also just dash. Oh, that dash is actually really difficult. But yeah, the whole taking away of your dash here, it's sort of... Again, more Mario comparisons, but hey, this game has a lot of Mario comparisons to be made. It's a lot like how Shadow Mario, Baby Bowser, spoilers for Super Mario Sunshine, does it even matter? Takes away your FLUDD in some of the secret areas of Super Mario Sunshine. You're suddenly forced to do a lot more with regular jumps and hopping off of enemies than you ever had to in the rest of the game. These very precise jumps that remind me a lot of Chapter 7 there. Or some of the parts in Chapter 6 where you had to do some artful falling in the second section. Which, by the way, I don't think I ever said that this one is called Burning or Freezing, the counterpart of Hot and Cold. Yeah, that makes sense. It's interesting that it's and or. Not hot or cold, not burning and freezing. Oh, just very precise, but not too bad. Psyched out there. Managed to finally get somewhere in the level and then screwed it right up at the end. Of course, that's all with Celeste. Celeste is almost built on that. Hey man, it's about being tenacious. It's about wanting to accomplish your goals regardless of the hardships that are put in front of you. You're here to climb this mountain regardless of how poorly or... Well, I would really disagree with badly and well prepared you are. Doing it anyway. Obviously, I do a lot of editing in the series, but it does work pretty well if you think about it, not editing out some of this stuff. It is... The frustration and the overcoming adversity are huge parts of the theming of this game, even in spite of how annoying and frustrating it might be. It's a rare time when you have frustration being part of the game. It is intended function of the game. I mean, hell, the fact that you're fighting yourself, battling, is a huge part of that, too. This area, that you are fighting yourself to continue playing the game. Hey! But yeah, the last section of this area, that part with those last two rotating fireballs, right here, is the most difficult part. Because they are rotating in just a way that you fall right into them. You get thrown directly into those fireballs. It maybe took me 10 minutes to get through that, at least like a good 5 minutes of grinding out that area, just to get through it. It was very difficult. Way more difficult than some of the other fairly difficult areas than you'd think. And then you switch it right to cold. Gotta do it. And then there's one of the sections that you want to destroy some of the ice balls while you can, so you have less fireballs to deal with. So you don't have to worry about getting that... Getting this crystal here while also having a bunch of fireballs around there the second that you hit the switch again. Oof. And of course you need to do that while also jumping on fireballs or expending some of your very limited dashes. It's a, just fantastic design here. And give myself an extra little dash because gotta do that. Dash, and there you go. Oh, constant switching. It is rough. Oh, third area. Third area is a counterpart of Heart of the Mountain in the A side. It is called... Not even all that bad for deaths, but it is called Heartbeat. Good name. Good name. Okay. Does not actually start out all that difficult. I feel... This is definitely the cooldown section after that last pretty rough one. Although it wasn't too bad, but the last 2 sections were fairly difficult, so it's appreciated nonetheless. Hard to see, but there is a little spring there. So you don't have to use all of your dashes. Ah, dang. You know, it is interesting that Madeline was so interested in seeing Badeline again, who... I mean, come on, as she said back in... As Badeline herself said back in Chapter 7, she transformed into a monster and attacked you. Kind of rich coming out of her. But I suppose, you know, there was a certain level of camaraderie. I cannot believe I wall jumped there. That was so stupid. A certain level of camaraderie that I suppose was gained, even though she did cause a lot more problems than maybe she solved in Chapter 7. Hey, I can't tell Madeline what to think. Whew. A little rough section, not too bad. Oh, this entire area. Perfectly designed for you to get through that section. Of course, that's not the difficult part. The difficult part is doing this. Because again, the cycles are in play. The speedrunning tactics still in play. However, these are lined up to make you have to do some not immediately obvious jumps in this section here. And that's how you're supposed to do it. You gotta do the little angle jump to be sure. And hey, here's that Mega Mix I was talking about. Not actually a real section, which is a little disappointing. And I totally screwed that up. But hey, you get to see all the mechanics one after another here. This is cool, I like it. Even if it's just the one thing, it is really neat to see everything working together in harmony. And the last one. Hey, Madeline. Sorry for insulting you earlier. But to be honest, you did cause a lot of problems. And of course, the final section, which still surprises me that they didn't put that at the very end. But I don't know, who am I to argue? What am I, a game designer? No. I merely tell them what to do. But anyway, yeah, last section, burning or freezing, giving you the old tide, lava tide. Have fun. And of course, done very, very difficultly, because as if this section wouldn't be kind of hard to do considering the limited amount of dashes that you have anyway. But now, you gotta deal with the tide as well, so make sure that the ceiling or floor is not killing you regardless of that. Yeah, having to hit your way into the crystal and then doing that crazy jump otherwise. Oh, and this whole thing. Hope you're not going to be taking this too quickly, because you got this whole snake trail of ice balls to deal with. Oh man, is it rough. And you can see there, if I grabbed onto that wall, would have been thrown directly into the ceiling and died. It's... The design is very meticulous to irritate you here. Oh... You have to make it... You have to plan things out. The fact that you have to prepare this section to be able to get through it is crazy. And yep. Make sure you got your wall jumping on point there to do it. Yeah. Ah, oh, come on. Yeah, doesn't that section look a little familiar? Yep. Hope you remember that part from Chapter 7 B-side. I mean, they know you had to do Chapter 7 B-side to be able to even get in this area in the first place. That bird told you how to do the wall dashing super momentum jump, so you're aware of it. Thankfully, this wasn't actually too difficult of a section, minus that very last death there, which was utterly ridiculous, but I had to keep in anyway. The editing in this entire series was haphazard, certainly, but hey, it's a lot better than watching an unfiltered 2 hours of me grinding through this. Or 5 hours, which would probably be total for Chapter 7, considering how long it is. Hoo boy. Although really, these last 2 sections, surprisingly not too bad. No, spoiled how long she's left, but hey, whatever. You can see how much of the video is left. Yep. all the way back into the calm. Don't have the same music though, which is a little disappointing. As much as I do like the lo-fi theme, the theme that they had for the core, the ending of the core here too was also really good. Yeah, it took me a surprisingly long time to realize that you do have your jump refresh in this area when you land on something. Also, it's interesting that they took the whole extremely slow movement mechanics and did in fact create a little gameplay section out of it. Celeste, right up until the end, still introducing new bits of gameplay to add in. That's a great thing about it, though. But yeah, not too difficult, even with the wraparound, too. Say goodbye. So, here we are again. The start of the end. But there's more. Oh, there's more. Still, I really like that splash screen too. And why is there more, you might ask? Well, first off, I still have to get the 1-up achievement and do the Pico 8 computer thing. But also... Seasides. Oh yeah. Oh boy. Golden strawberries. I will probably not be doing those, and I will explain in the next and last episode of Celeste when I do the Seasides. I will be doing these.